So many accomplishments, but just let me feature just a few of the highlights from Richard Burton's life. He was born in 1925 as Richard Walter Jenkins in Wales, and he was the 12th of 13 children who grew up in a poor working-class Welsh-speaking household. Richard displayed a talent for English and Welsh literature at school, though his main passion was sports. His schoolmaster, whose name was Philip Burton, who later adopted him, hence the name Burton, was something of a mentor and encouraged him to take part in school stage productions. In 1943, at the age of 18, he began a 6-month term at Exeter College, Oxford, before serving as a navigator in the Royal Air Force between 1944 and 1947. In 1947, he moved to London to find work as an actor. He signed up with a theatrical agency, and his first professional roles were in radio plays for the BBC and in the film The Last Days of Dolwyn. During the 1950s, his profile grew. His performance as Prince Henry in the 1951 Stratford production of Shakespeare's Henry IV, Part 1, won him critical acclaim and elevation into the circle of great British actors such as Olivier, Gielgud, and Richardson. In 1952, his Hollywood career began. 20th Century Fox signed him for 3 films at $50,000 each. The first was My Cousin Rachel, for which he was given the lead role. The film established Richard as a Hollywood leading man and garnered him an Academy Award nomination and a Golden Globe Award. Now, a number of high-profile film roles followed, including Alexander the Great and Look Back in Anger. His theatrical career was running in tandem with his appearances on the silver screen. He played Coriolanus and Hamlet at the Old Vic in 1953 and received a Tony Award nomination for his Broadway performance in Time Remembered, eventually winning a Tony for playing King Arthur in the 1960 musical Camelot. In 1963, as we said, he took the role of Mark Antony in Cleopatra. At the time, it was the most expensive film ever made, with costs reaching almost $40 million. It was a huge success and established him as one of Hollywood's top earners. Perhaps more significantly, it was on the set of Cleopatra that Richard and Elizabeth fell in love. The couple married, and a succession of film roles followed, alongside Taylor, including The Sandpiper, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and The Taming of the Shrew. The couple divorced in 1974, but remarried in 1975. The second union lasted less than a year. Now, during his lifetime, Richard was nominated 7 times for an Academy Award, 6 of which were for Best Actor in a Leading Role. He was a recipient of BAFTA, Golden Globe, and Tony Awards for Best Actor. Many would attest to Richard Burton's generosity, which extended beyond his family to charities and friends. For example, his early contracts with the BBC, whether television or radio, often contained clauses that waived his fee in favor of a local charity. He contributed to many good causes across the world, ranging from the Playhouse Theater in Oxford to charitable contributions to the town of Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. On August the 5th, 1984, Richard died of a cerebral hemorrhage in Geneva, Switzerland, at the age of 58. He was buried with a copy of the collected poems of Dylan Thomas. Now let me tell you just a little bit about the person who will accept the star on behalf of Richard Burton. She is Maria Burton McEwen, Richard's adopted daughter. Maria is a testimony to the ideals instilled in her by her father, demonstrated through her work as a humanitarian, a loving mother, and the wife of a 9/11 survivor. Maria carries out her father's legacy, so please help me welcome to the stage now, Maria Burton. We have other members of the Showtime series, Masters of Sex, where he both stars and produces. Please welcome Michael Sheen.
Thank you very much. Nestled between the Pope the rising South Wales hills, lies the small but mythic town of Posthumously. A carbuncle of industrial ugliness, some call it. But others, myself included, prefer to think of it as a cornucopia of earthly and sometimes unearthly delights. A town for mining coal, for forging steel. A town of priests and rugby players, of tough men and tougher women. A small, salty town with a steep-edged valley leading up through tin works, past chapels, coal tips, through Commemorate to Puntred. And somewhere amongst these cold, salt sea winds, amongst the smoke and the dust, the warm ale and the cigarettes, the tall, throaty tales and the low, crunching tackles, brewed the alchemy, the wild Welsh magic that created that voice. It was Richard and that voice that inspired amongst sons of coal miners and steel workers dreams of distant and exotic lands. I know because I was one of them. For me, growing up as a boy in Port Talbot, it was Richard and, shortly thereafter, another of Port Talbot's famous sons, Sir Anthony Hopkins. Yes, he comes from there too. Yes, there must be something in the water. It was them who made my dreams of becoming an actor just that little bit more possible. It was the same beach that I built my boyhood sandcastles and learned to flailingly swim. It was that same beach that one legendary day, Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor descended from the heavens like gods from Olympus in a helicopter, mind you, and landed on those sands. They stepped out swathed in luxurious fur coats, it was the 70s, and walked among us for too short a time. It was that same mountain that I trudged up from school to home every day, where I picked my summer jubilees with my grandfather. That same mountain that little Richard Jenkins was taken up by his mentor and teacher and the man who would lend him the name that would become famous around the world, Philip Burton. It was on that same mountain, as legend would have it, that he would be made to declaim huge swathes of Shakespeare, the great speeches from Henry V. Once more under the breach, we few, we happy few, until his voice was ragged and coarse and almost gone. And day after day he would do it, until he created that extraordinary instrument, carved, rough-hewn from those same slopes. The voice that would one day allow someone to famously describe Richard, that when he came on stage, he brought his cathedral on stage with him. To be here, standing here today, finally placing Richard's star next to Elizabeth's, on this day of days, this day of Wales, St. David's Day, is a moment of great, great pride and honour for me, here, but also for all those thousands of miles and worlds away, in that small, mythic town.
The Hollywood side. The Hollywood side. Voice of Order Funds. They make the greatest friend, and I know Dame Barbara Hay is here. Good to Dame Barbara, the Council General, for great friend. Give her another hand there. God bless the British. For this great picture, your father is with the angels. This is from the Monastery of the Angels, so it all works. God bless you.
I got you.
All right, well, it's time to unveil the star, but let me just say, before we do it, in memory of our late honorary mayor of Hollywood, Johnny Grant, we hereby declare this Richard Burton Day in Hollywood.
Push the line. Go for it. Tear it up. Do it. No, idiot, we can't see him now. Stand up, you can't see that.
Now they welcome to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Richard Burton.
And bring it to your left.
Forward.
Okay,
My Lord.
So you just went in out of fridge, yeah.
Can't see the kid. Can't see the boy.
Can't see the. We can't see the boy. Can the boy come out? Or everyone stand.
But you get that.
Much better.
There you go.
Wait till we get it. There we go.
Maria, right here. Maria, right here. Right here. Maria, make a pan. Your left right here, and then go left.
Yeah.
Maria.
Maria, right here down below.
Maria, just one more time if you would.
Maria, right down here.
Maria, one more time to the left.
Maria.
Has everybody got it?
One more time. Could you just right here.
And guys, in that corner, one last time right here, please.
And just one more on the corner with all the
Way left.
Alright.
Lionel, that'll be the pick they want. The death.
Did you get that? Marlene, can you get Lionel in, please? I like that.
John, I just flipped it on.
One time, yeah. Horrible. I'm here.